Let's do a different type of video today where I look at different images of bug out bags that are commonly found on the internet and react to them. So this video is not some type of a critical review or me saying that someone did something right or wrong with their bug out bag. It's just my comments, my observations, my reaction. So let's start with this image here on the screen. Now here we have two bags. When I look at these bags though, I can't help but to say these bags look a bit tactical or paramilitary in nature. They kind of almost have this this woodsman look and a military look kind of combined together. And the bag on the left to me is much more low-key in nature than the one on the right. But they both have elements that stand out. So when I look at the bag on the left, it has the Y yoke, it has that a bit of molly webbing on the bottom. The overall design looks a little tactical, but not as much as the bag on the right. But it has this this trauma kit or an IFAK that's on the side of the bag. And it's a different coloration than the bag. So here you have this multicam pouch that's holding this medical supplies, and most likely it probably has some type of first aid symbol on the pouch, and it's for everyone to see. Now, if you're out in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the woods, bugging out, so be it. You have quick access to your supplies. That's wonderful. But if you're in an urban area, this is really not something that you want to show everybody, because people are going to probably be able to figure out what kind of bag this is. So I would just put that trauma kit in the bag if you're moving around in a highly populated area. Now, moving to the bag to the right, you have a multicam trauma kit as well, and that also contrasts with the bag, but not by a lot. But it definitely is a different color scheme there in terms of patterns. And you have a bit more molly, a Y yoke, and the bag to me is designed even more tactical with more pouches built into it. You have this external pouch that it's like a tan versus the bag, which looks to be more like a coyote tan. So you have this lighter coloration round pouch that really stands out. That's where my eye kind of goes to. So you have this focal point, and that's going to really draw a lot of attention, especially in urban areas. And then you have this black knife, this fixed blade knife that's attached to the back of the bag. Now that may not be permanently there. Maybe that's just there when the bag is stored, and then when the bag is in use, they take that off, they put it on their belt, and they put the bag on. But if that is stored there, that's really hard to get to if you needed it while you have the bag on. And it contrasts like you wouldn't believe with the bag, as well as what it looks like on the far right. There's a water bottle pouch, and that's black as well. So that really contrasts with the bag. So I would say try to minimize all these pouches and stuff on the bags. And if you have to put like a pouch, try to use the same coloration so it doesn't cause attention. It doesn't contrast with itself. So overall, I think these are nice bags, but if you're in the know, you would know that these bags would easily cost more than $100. And if the bag itself is over $100, then you can pretty much deduce that the things in the bag are probably worth many, many hundreds of dollars. So that's why even if you're a seasoned person and you like tactical stuff, it's best to go low profile and not to look tactical, because there's a lot of people who know that bags like these are not cheap, and that know that it probably is going to be an inference that you have a lot of nice stuff in those bags. And some of those people at least may want to take those things from you in a worst case scenario, because survival can be a pretty nasty business, and you don't want to get mixed in with that. So you may want to consider something like just an everyday carry bag that looks really standard, maybe like a heavy duty JanSport, a book bag, something like that. Just kind of blend in and not stand out. In this particular image, we see a black, small assault style backpack. I can't really tell if this is Maxpedition or not. There's a lot of bags that have copied the Falcon series of Maxpedition. These bags, in my opinion, have a few characteristics that I don't really care for. First off, they're very narrow, and when you fill them up, which typically you have to because they're so small inside, that they really stick out. They're really deep. And sometimes deep isn't always a good thing because it can throw off your center of gravity, your center of balance. And these bags, though, are not that bad if you're like in a really thick jungle-like environment and you want a narrow bag, so you don't want things getting caught on branches and brush. But a lot of us are not going through the jungle when we bug out, and or thick woods. Some of us may, but probably not most of us. And when you add this really deep bag to something that is attached to the back of it, like this canteen that's filled with water, you're going to really add to even more pull off of your center of gravity. That means you're going to probably have to lean forward a little bit more to regain your center of balance. So it is not really advisable, in my opinion, to put canteens or heavier things further from your body or at the furthest point on your bag from your body. So that water bottle should probably be a lot closer to your back and your hips. And also that knife there, while it looks really cool to have it on the side, you try to access that when you have the bag on, it's not going to be the easiest thing possible. So I'd probably put that knife on my belt or have a smaller knife to put on my shoulder strap. Now, talking about shoulder straps real quick, we can kind of see here that it looks to be some type of whistle there on the shoulder strap. That's not really a bad idea. That's pretty smart. But once again, if you're trying to be really low key, you may want to find a better way to kind of conceal that. But overall, this is a bag that a lot of people use, and you can still use it, but it's kind of one of those things that if you want to be more low key and be more balanced, so that it doesn't put strain on your back and on your hips and your neck, you may want to have a certain approach over this one. This particular image I've seen quite a few times over the years. To me, this is more of like a hiking and camping bag. Someone that's trying to really hike into the woods, maybe like 10, 20 miles, and maybe want to stay for a week. This is kind of for a bug out bag for most people. This is way over the top. The bag itself is just too big. First thing I think of, when I see these tools and the weapons, that it must be, really an intense environment. They must be playing on a survival event possibly, and they must have a lot of threats to their well-being. To take an AR-15, it's not totally overkill, but to me, I wouldn't want to have anything to slow me down, anything to kind of extra weight to make me less light on my feet. The lighter you are on your feet, the faster you travel. I also have to say that this individual may be not as advanced as other people when you look at the bedroll, especially the mat there, and just at how much stuff that they think they need to get through this bug out situation. And once again, this is a bug out bag. This isn't something else. I made sure all these images were labeled bug out bags and from the actual source. So to me, this system is kind of like a snapshot of someone that is just starting out, possibly, that is unsure about their skills, but yet they want to have a lot of gear to compensate for that lack of skills. And once again, this is not to be critical in that person, because we all start out somewhere. But I'd say that they would probably want to work on skill building and to reduce the weight and bulk so they can be faster on their feet and just have a lot less things to worry about. This is a really pretty big kit. So this is another image of a bug out bag that's really on steroids. I'm not saying that this is inappropriate, but it seems to be overkill from the outside looking in. Now, this individual may have a large family that they're trying to take care of. So maybe he needs a lot of supplies. Maybe he has 7 kids. Who knows? Maybe they have to travel, 5 or 6 days to get to their bug out location. But there's also that possibility that they don't have a lot of skills, once again, and they're trying to overcompensate, or they just completely overpacked. A lot of people think that bugging out is like going camping, and it's not at all. Just look at the bedroll sticking out and all the contrasting elements and just stuff hanging off the pack. In fact, there's actually a backpack attached to the main pack. And if you would go through an urban area like this, you're going to really stand out. If you're in a wilderness area, you got so many things that can snag on bushes and trees may not be the best situation. But it's one of those things, though, that if you have to travel that far to get to your bug out location, you may want to change your bug out location, because this is ridiculous if this is what you really have to carry. Now, this individual may be in excellent shape. He might be able to walk 20 miles with this 60 or 70 pound pack, but that doesn't mean that this is for you. Certain individuals can do certain things, but once again, we're not all built equally the same. So in my opinion, I would definitely downsize from this pack, maybe reconsider where your bug out location is. I'd add some more skills to my repertoire, and just be mindful about, how the pack looks to other people if you were exposed to other people in worst case scenarios. So in closing, I just want to give an example of a bag that really is a great design concept, and that's the 511 Covert 18. For a lot of people, they use it for their everyday carry bag. Yes, it is a smaller bag, and yes, it doesn't use some of the thickest materials out there. It's not the most robust system available. But it is a good example, regardless if this bag in particular is good for you or not. It can give you an example of color schemes and layouts that really don't draw a lot of attention. And at the same time, inside the pack, there is a ton of organization and various systems to store your goods and your gear. So it's just something to consider, a pack that is going to get your needs met but not be over the top. And so this is pretty cool. I don't mind some of these two-tone looks that we have available with this brand, but I really like the foliage gray look. I really think that probably for me is my favorite, and that's right here on the screen. This kind of a gray foliage green kind of blend, it really is nice. It really has a very subtle look to it. It just doesn't really demand your attention. It's easy for your eyes to kind of flow over it. And if you keep it real simple and you don't have a bunch of stuff hanging on the outside and things dangling around and causing people to look, you could easily carry this pack through a city, and probably most people would not think much about it. They would just think, it's just a little backpack or a day pack, whatever. So just some things to consider. I hope you enjoyed this new test here of this new video format. I'm just trying to do something different, and I thought maybe doing a reaction video would be interesting. Let me know what you think about this. Once again, this video was not to point fingers at anybody. It was just kind of my gut reaction and just some thoughts that I think about when I look at different systems. Hopefully it was helpful on some level. You guys take care. Catch you later.